If I showed you guys this board just like this right now, would you guess $110? This is the RO75. This was sent out by APOS Audio. If you guys want some like quick background on APOS, I believe for the most part they acquired or bought or something along that lines most of Kono's stock. They ended up becoming a pretty solid keyboard vendor. So they have a lot of different stuff. And then they talked to me about the RO75. Now it's been out for a little while. I just got this in. They asked if I wanted to check it out, so they sent it out. So this is going to be a sponsored things. They sent it out to me. I'm going to just tell you guys, just for the sake of transparency, I am still going to make sure I give this its fair shot. You know what I mean? No one told me to say anything. No one, nothing like that. But genuinely, I was interested because the price point. It's $109. Well, 110. Let's just call it 110 USD. It is pretty solid with a pretty solid feature set as well. Comes in a few different colors. I actually don't know what color they sent me. Like I said, I haven't even opened the box yet. But this should be, it's interesting because we talked about 75%, right, the other day. This should be like a pretty viable 75% keyboard with features that everyone kind of wanted. This does come pre-assembled. I already said to them we're going to be just taking it apart and exploring in it and then just rebuilding it a few times. So might be a bit of a longer stream today. But these pre-built solutions are becoming pretty popular. It's a nice keyboard. Did I say keyboard or something? Oh my god, dude. Let's see what we get for $110. No, the box is misspelled? Oh, it is. I didn't even realize that. It is misspelled. Dude. I don't really care much about boxes. These end up in the recycling bin for me for the most part. That is funny. I'll mention that to them, but unfortunately I don't think APOS has anything to do with the box here. This is the NPK Club. That's the designers. But I'll mention it for sure. All right away we get some PBT keycaps. And this is the stock keyboard we get. The plan is to swap out some switches. I mean, you know what? Right away, like, I don't mind this. Yeah, I mean, it's foamy sounding. Okay, so that's not terrible right off the bat. Let's take a look at the quality of everything. So it's a pretty slick design. The only comparable thing I can really think of right now is going to be the Bridge 75. And I really hope this competes with the Bridge 75 because the Bridge 75 was really slick. They have a long foot here on the back with two smaller feet in the front, which sometimes is a little bit, you know, it can be a little bit thuddy, but I'm glad we at least have two smaller ones in the front, which I've been told matters more. We do have a PVD'd weight. It has a very small amount of rippling. Let me see if I can show you guys this. A very small amount of rippling, which, you know what, you can't really even see, which is good. You really can't even see it all. Not bad. And then some other features, which I have like on a little cheat sheet here for myself. It's a 2.4 or a Bluetooth, so you have wireless options. It says VIA and VIAL compatible. I don't know about VIAL. I haven't checked because I just opened the box. But right here on the page, it says you need to download the JSON file for VIA. It seems like the more exploring I do into this whole why people who are doing wireless boards with tri-mode PCBs aren't complying with VIA, it's like this whole rabbit hole of what I feel like different answers. At this point here, like, I would just love for both QMK and these brands to kind of just sit down one day and just figure their shit out. And then the switches in this one here are called Pink Robin linear switches, which is cool. It says it has a steel mirror polished weight. It kind of looks like PVD, so that's my mistake there. But it does look like a PVD because it's rippled a little bit. It's not quite perfect. Which, for $110, I'm willing to just excuse that. Bunch of different colors it comes with. It has a 1.2 mil PCB with flex cuts, which is kind of expected with a lot of these more foamier sounding boards, which might be a little bit more difficult to open up and, you know, tune it. Nothing really else that I had in my cheat sheet that was like super standout. They're saying like upgraded IC RGB lighting. The PBT and ABS die sub keycaps. They're saying it's a combo. Yeah, I don't really understand what they're trying to say with the ABS. I think that might be on one of the different versions here. The one I think we got is just their standard silver, and they have other ones with different keycaps. And as you guys can see, well, actually you guys can't see, but as you guys will be able to tell, they have different ones with different levels of keycaps. So like different colors get more expensive, all the way up to 150. And those are like the more premium keycaps. I don't know if I would personally pay an extra 30, 40 bucks for premium keycaps in this case, but at least they're themed here. I'll show you guys what I mean. At least they're themed to the keyboard. So they look kind of like this. I don't know. I don't mind them. I think they're actually not too bad. It's cool. I do wish this was sold separately though. I feel like this would be a cool like add-on to customize the board outside of just buying it pre-built. I feel like putting on keycaps is not very difficult. But as you can see, it goes all the way up to 150 bucks. Again, if you're buying this, probably just stick with the silver. You know what I mean? But yeah, let's actually tear this apart. Again, I don't think the stabs are bad at all. I think the stabs actually work pretty good on this. The whole board feels pretty good. These particular keycaps, they're just okay. I would not go over the moon about these keycaps. They're just all right. I probably would want to see the other ones, the more premium ones. The switches feel really good too. Actually, I might even I was going to use something different for the switches, but yeah, that's pretty much the board. The visuals of the board are pretty simplistic as well. Again, the main competition here, and the only real competition in my mind, is the Bridge 75. The Ano's okay. It's a little grainy, not the best quality in the world, but again, for the price point of this particular one's 110, not bad. Front height we can measure. I didn't see a spec for that, but there is a cherry lip on this. About 14.5 millimeters to the front cherry lip, and to the back cherry lip, 18. Honestly, not bad. Get a bunch of different switches too. That's nice. And there's a cable in there too. Oh, you get a little instruction booklet. It's in both. Okay, it's in both languages here too. That's good. Okay, cool. I like that. That's nice. All right, let's do a little teardown on this. This could give the Bridge 75 a run for its money, because the Bridge 75 has been like my most, when people ask me for good like starter keyboards, I always recommend the Bridge 75. You get some plate mounted stabs, which is not a big deal. And then here are those switches. Yes, it's also using the ball catch system too, which is fantastic. Oh wow, look at how much padding they've put around here too. They even have padding over here so nothing gets rattly. Pretty easy to use ball catch system, unlike the Wuche ones, which are like extremely tough to tear down. But yeah, pretty nice. And then we have a ribbon cable. That's probably the most like annoying part about this build, but you know what? It's not the end of the world. And then you have gaskets, and these are like a dumbbell gasket system, which you can just take off and place where you want. I mean, at least the keycaps are rather thick. Like these are pretty thick keycaps. 1.6 millimeters. I'll give them that. They are quite thick. The die sub on them is just okay though. Like it's nothing special. I don't know if it's just the font choice that they used, like the typeface, but I wouldn't like go crazy over this. I'm just happy to see another 75 that's not like, you know, terrible looking, because I feel like this is pretty neutral looking and I appreciate that. Nice and clean looking, yeah. Could be a fun board to experiment with for people just joining the hobby too, which is cool. ISO support on the PCB. It looks pretty damn fixed. I wouldn't expect anything out of this though. You know what though? I will admit, because I don't know if the plate supports it. It hopefully does. I like the fact that they're giving us PCB mounted stabs though. Hell yes to that. I might swap them out just for funsies. I don't like this. This is a big gripe of mine that I feel like I don't know why people haven't figured this out. See the wireless, whatever this is, the toggle for wirelesses versus wired. It's like underneath the PCB over here. Means you need to take off a keycap, and then you need to, that's actually pretty recessed downwards. You need to go in here and use a tweezer or something to toggle this on and off. I strongly dislike that. I don't know why companies are still doing it this way. It's clearly been proven that you can, especially on these more budget lineups, just do it really nicely, integrate it with the case. You got two big batteries on the bottom. That's cool. And then there's another sheet over here. We'll just leave this here for now, but I am going to disassemble all of this and see what else we got. I'm gonna take off the gaskets too. You know, the board still has a little bit of heft to it, which is nice. I think they did a good job with the overall design of this. I don't know if this is going to fall on deaf ears, but just for the sake of making your spacebar softer and what I find personally is less fatiguing, I would probably move the mounting point from here to match kind of like the distance here. I know it becomes a bit off-centered and you might have, you know, the catchball system kind of in the way, and that's fine. I just think it really makes the spacebar less fatiguing. Again, not the biggest deal in the world because these are dumbbell gaskets. You can just take it off, so it's not like the end of the world here. I like these switches though. These I might reuse. These are not too bad sounding at all. I was just gonna pop in some non-long pull switches to see how the board sounds, but perhaps we just use these. All right, so let's get this assembly all torn down here. Now, the stabs are very lightly lubed, but honestly, they sounded fine. Like, I heard no ticking from the stabs. I see no reason to replace these. Yeah, I don't see a reason to move these stabs. These were great. Okay, I'm going to give the RO75 a check mark here. Good stabs. Really good stabs out of the box. Like, these were well tuned. You may tune them up in the future just because, you know, most stabs you end up needing to, but not bad. And then we have our foam stack here, which we're going to take apart. We're not going to do a foam stack. And then we have our 1.2 mil flex cut PCB. This is like a hear me out thing. What if we didn't do 1.2 mil? And what if we just did a 1.6 mil PCB with no flex cuts? The reason why I say that, imagine the extra stuff you can do with, say, a keyboard like this for $110 to start. If you could, because it clearly looks like, you know, these have PCB mounted gaskets. Imagine the extra flexibility you can get, pun intended, out of your customization for your build. You can technically, if you wanted to, if this was a standard PCB, build this plateless. I think that would be really cool. I also think it's a bit interesting that we go with a giant foam stack that clearly has no flex cuts or anything, which kind of eliminates the need for per key flex cuts. And then we also go with a plate with no flex cuts. It just feels like a bit of a why moment. Now, this is not exclusive to the RO75. There are a lot of keyboards that do this, and I don't really understand the reason why. There is something to be said of, yes, there is some flex you'll get out of that, but I think a standard horizontal flex cut would be fine for that, not necessarily per key. But again, I feel like you can get a lot more out of this if you were to just do a 1.6 mil or even a 1.2 mil PCB with no flex cuts. I really think this could be something that would be like a super strong recommend for a lot of markets if this had just a standard PCB. Again, I'm not upset about it, but it would be cool. A very fixed layout here, but again, I am expecting something like that out of a pre-built PCB here, pre-built keyboard, I should say. Then we have I think this is like an IXPE sheet, and then we also have this too. Yeah, it's very good. I'm gonna try with these switches, and if I don't like these switches, I'm gonna switch to a different set here. But these switches actually, they're pretty nice. Hell, actually, this looks pretty good. Good front height, good overall standard design, like nothing too crazy. Good price point. Nice heft because of this stainless steel weight. All right, okay. All right, let's see what this sounds like now, shall we, guys? So these are with the stock switches. I've taken out every piece of foam but the plate foam. So just the standard plate foam, all the other like sheets have been taken out. And we're using GMK keycaps. Okay, it's not bad. I'm going to do one thing though. The space bar is a little flat sounding, but I wonder if it's just from this one gasket. And again, I like the catch ball here. It makes sense to have it. It's a little thinner for sure, but I think it's, you know, probably due to that. Oh, actually that opens it right up. A little bit of ticking on this side. Now that we've used the board a little bit, yeah, the lube, the lack of lube is showing a little bit. A little bit of ticking, but not a big deal. Oh, dude, I actually think taking out this one gasket makes a huge difference. That's pretty solid. This is not Hall effect. This is standard gluten. This is not a Hall effect board. If I showed you guys this board just like this right now, would you guess $110? Obviously, you have to buy the keycaps in this case. Like, you probably have to buy your set of GMK keycaps. But for, like, for the core of the board, alphas are going to be a bit thinner. Like, they're a little bit lighter in sound profile because of, unfortunately, the flex cut PCB. But I don't think they're they're not in a terrible spot. I think they're in a very good spot, honestly. The spacebar shines pretty nicely too. Well, the only thing you could probably do is probably put back that bottom foam, which we can try to do right now. Or just build this with the foam and have a foamier build. Like if we put this piece in, which usually these types of foam, this like EVA style foam it's usually not like super foamy sounding, but we'll see what this actually does here. I left the stock switches in because when I opened up the case and I was trying the switches, I thought, wow, these actually feel and sound pretty good. So I will also say the stock switches are more than adequate. I think this is really nice for stock switches. Ooh, I don't like it now, guys. I think this is a no foam underneath kind of board for me. If we're going to do like the foamless ones, yeah, I think we take this out entirely. I don't think that sounds very good at all. The alphas sounded kind of same, but like the spacebar immediately was too flat. But if you did want to go the full foam route, it still sounded fun. Like, actually, this is not hollow at all, Melta. Would you guys say this sounds hollow? In the slightest? I don't hear scratch at all. Honestly, this is a pretty solid sound profile. It's pretty soft. Like this is, I don't know if you guys can see how soft this is. That's why I would leave that plastic film underneath so this doesn't bottom out and short. Yeah, dude, I can easily recommend this alongside the Bridge 75. I think it's interchangeable. I don't think one's better than the other. Both have a very clean aesthetic. Yeah, for about 110 bucks plus whatever shipping is, easy recommend on this. There are things I wish changed, just so everyone's aware. Like, I wish the mounting points were shifted so you didn't have to fiddle with one gasket being taken off. I do wish like the VIA situation was changed. I do wish that they were giving us some options for a more standardized PCB where you can do more with it instead of just only giving us the flex cut PCB. But honestly, this is not bad at all. Yeah, I can't complain. The starting price of 110 I feel like is very fair. Very, very fair for this. And then they did send us another board to take a look at. They said if we had some time that we can unbox it. So let's go take a look at that too. The White Fox Eclipse. Oh, this is nice. It's definitely a very tall board. Oh, look, an on and off button? Let's go, dude. Yeah, front height's high on this guy, yeah. Oh, I oddly like this a lot. Wait, this is kind of cool. Sorry guys, was that really loud? Actually, it's not terrible. So wait, what does this come with exactly? Oh, you can swap between a high and low case as well. So I guess if you had the other one, you can swap between it. That's interesting. It's 185. And this has a magnetic top. Oh, interesting. Oh, wow, that's pretty cool. Oh, wow, there's like a big piece of foam here on the bottom, too. Huh. Milky yellows? Get some nice milky yellows with this. I mean, this is probably why it sounds a bit more thuddy. Oh, and these are the magnets it sits on here. Interesting. Or not magnets, it sits on these like foam pads here. A little bit of stock lube on the stabilizers here. These are hot swap, are they not? Yeah, okay. Thing with Gatoron switches though, getting them out of a plate is a pain in the ass. I like the layout of this too, it's fun. Or not the layout, sorry, the case design for the layout, I should say. It feels longer than it should. The stock stabs definitely need some work here. These are not very great. I agree. I think what would have really benefited from this case, right away, I agree, it needs some sort of relief cut, or what they could have done is they could have cut up on this part of the plate, right up here, went right across and then back down to allow the spacebar to be kind of on its own and give this spacebar its own type of area to move. They do have a relief cut right above. Right over here they have a relief cut. And they could have also extended it out here as well. So on top of cutting upwards, they could have put a cut over here too and really isolated the plate here. And we do have flex cuts inside the PCB. Also, again, I'm just going to say this. What's the point of having that if you have a thick aluminum plate? That makes no sense to me. Pretty fixed layout, which again, expect it with something like this. Honestly, this is pretty cool. Higher profile though equals a little bit more, well, a little tougher to type on. So you just have to be aware of that. Oh, did I not put this in properly? I mean, interesting project though. Nice keycaps you get too. I like these keycaps. I like the legends on these. These are cool. And then this is nice. Dude, if this keyboard had this, toggles are so nice. Second piece of criticism from this as well. I get the need to make, this is like a magnet. It needs to sit flush along the case here. So it feels like it's seamless. The thing is, this is what actually Glorious did with their keyboard too. What's a good angle I can show you guys this on? See how these gaskets are supposed to create some sort of force break? Well, we have two problems with that. The gaskets are so shallow that compressed with the magnet, they're going to hit anyways. So it makes no sense for those to be there. Second problem are these, right? So when you have these little standoffs that are also metal, the force break doesn't really matter much anymore because we've now created more metal on metal contact. So realistically, I think the idea here would be to have these be silicone for the future if they ever do a redo of this, or just some criticism I can offer to make the board better. That would be better as silicone, and these would be better if it was a little bit more plush, but obviously there'd be a bit more of a seam, which either you lean into or you rethink that, but it's not really going to matter much here. To go further into this, let's see what else we have. So it is using like an O-ring cord. I kind of think that's really cool. I've never seen something like this before. It's using an O-ring cord to go around the whole board, and it's sitting like this, kind of like Geon's boards, but it's going the whole way around. That is really cool. I mean, there's some interesting things about this board. It's definitely visually pleasing, I'll tell you that much. Speaking out loud, I feel like the plate could have been done a lot better if, instead of just extending the plate all the way to the edge over here, you know how far this plate is going out? If you had cut like a normal plate here and then just offered a leaf spring and then let the leaf springs rest on this, you probably would have got a very non-metallic-y sound as well as a totally different feeling for this keyboard. Perhaps even a bit softer because you would have better isolated the plate PCB combo. That could have been a really smart idea too. I mean, this is an interesting idea. I won't discredit that. I think that's really interesting. It also looks really cool too. Like I like this chunky aesthetic it's got going on. The RO75, I really like. This is a really good project. This is interesting. I feel like this is something that has potential. And I like some of the ideas, like just right off the first glance here. I think there's some interesting ideas in here. However, I don't think all the ideas are fully implemented well. Like I feel like there could be a million things that could have been, not a million. I feel like there could have been a large handful of things that could have been changed in this to make the board overall better. Is it a cool project? I mean, I do like the way it looks. It's cool. I like this magnetic enclosure. This is pretty well done. The board's so heavy that you can't even lift it by accident from this too, which is interesting. But there is some stuff that definitely was overlooked. Like I feel like the thickness of these gaskets do absolutely nothing. You know, like I'm not going to go over it again, but yeah, there's a bunch of things I would change personally about this. Overall though, like does it make it sound terrible? No, but it doesn't sound like a custom keyboard that has had, you know, the works done to it type thing. It's very generic sounding, I'll tell you that much. And it's rather stiff. Like this is super stiff. It's isolated well, like I'm not feeling vibrations from things, but it is super stiff and you'd have to be really floating your wrists. That is a pretty high keyboard, but I think that's done on purpose. It's a high profile keyboard. Huh, interesting. I like this one. Apos picked up a pretty good project with this. Absolutely. I am happy with this. This turned out really good. This one, I don't know. I don't think there's any saving this board. This is a pretty one-trick pony. So this just turned out great. I really like this one. And see you guys very, very soon. Bye, everyone.